Hello, welcome or welcome back. If you are new here, hello, my name is Stacy. This is STACILEA Beauty. This week is about Too Faced. The Too Faced Better Than Sex Mascara, which I feel like fan favorite for many, many years. This though, I have the date. I try to write the date when I open products. So much more helpful to keep track. This is from 2020, so no. I think the reason I kept this was I'm trying to collect old ones so that I can clean the mascara one and send them to the Wildlife Foundation and kind of see how that goes. But here is what the brush looks like. It is more of a wet formula, very similar if you haven't tried it, like to L'Oreal Lash Paradise Essence Lash Princess. And actually, yeah, I was right. I couldn't have planned that if I tried. I actually am talking about the mascara, and in my notes, I'm landing on the mascara. In 2013 is actually when Better Than Sex Mascara came out. Still one of their best sellers if you look on their best selling. And they have now expanded that into a brown formula and a waterproof. Now, if you want to try it, you can get the travel size in the regular one and the waterproof in black. The brown is not available in travel size. And in 2014, they had the continuation of the 9 pans. They had the a la mode, natural eyes, and interesting enough, I also have the natural eyes palette. And when I was scrolling through, I was like, oh, that came out in 2014? No way can mine be that old. So then I looked on their website and they still sell that today. So mine is a little old, but not that old. They also this year came out with a tin of Brow Envy that they do not have anymore. They launched the chocolate bar palette, which we know we've had a lot of iterations of that throughout the years. They came into the eyeliner game and they launched bulletproof eyeliners. They had 9 pan cat eyes. And again, they did the holiday collections. In 2015, they did the Love Flush blushes, which got rave reviews. People loved how cute they were. They launched the Born This Way foundation. Do have a sample card. And this was Paris. Now here is when people started to kind of question things. It seemed like before this, what I read, and I was listening to different YouTube videos from back then, it seemed like before this, everyone loved pretty much everything that Too Faced did. They had something come out, people loved them, bought it, had to have it. So in 2016, Estee Lauder purchased Too Faced for a reported $1.6 billion with a B dollars. And I would have thought that that probably had to be a pretty surreal moment for Jared. I mean, if you worked at a makeup counter, if the company that you worked at their makeup counter got into doing makeup and created your brand, and then if that was the company that you were to sell to, I mean, depending on, I guess, on how you left it with the company, I would think it would either be a sad thing, like if you left on bad terms, but it didn't sound like he did. So it sounded like he was happy with, well, I mean, obviously he was happy because he sold it, but he said it was like a full circle moment, which I can see that. This concealer, if you don't have it, this is the first time I'm trying it. It says it's a multi-use sculpturing concealer, super coverage. They aren't kidding. Like, this goes a long way. I mean, I didn't even dip into the little thing here. I only used what was on the lid part of it. Look at that. Like, that is way too much. Holy cow, I did not expect it to that much. I guess I should have known, but okay. We're going to have to work on blending this in. So this color that I have on is the Swan color. That was the lightest in here. And yeah, that's the lightest. They have 20 shades. So yeah, that's the lightest color is a Swan. So if you're my skin tone, you can see like that is really light. We're going to try Butterscotch. So here is what we have on the lid part of it. So I'm just going to use that, and the other side of this, the more round side. So Nikki Tutorials did a video called The Power of Makeup, where she did half of her face with makeup and she had half of her face without makeup. She partnered with, or Too Faced partnered with her, and the palette that she came out was called The Power of Makeup. She did videos showing swatches and showing looks with it, and the swatches looked beautiful. People ordered the palette and the quality. People are swatching them. It's not the same swatching that she's showing, that she showed on her videos. The looks, it's much more patchy. People are saying this, isn't the same formula. So people started really questioning her. And unfortunately, even though it was, Too Faced, they were the ones making the products, since Nikki was the one, her name was also on it. And people, I feel like when there's a influencer collab, people are buying that because of the influencer, because they like the person, they want to support the person, and they want to try it. People look to Nikki thinking, okay, like, you're talking about makeup and you're trying to convince us to buy this and showing us these swatches, but it's completely different than what's actually shipped. So Nikki came out and she was saying, that no, like, the stuff that she worked with, the stuff that, she approved, the quality was better. But later that year, it seems like they kind of came back from that drama with a successful launch of a highlighter. It was their first highlighter called Candlelight Glow. People liked it. They came out with the Born This Way concealer. And obviously people like that because it's still sold today. The holiday collection again came out, cutesy. And once again, people noticed the quality wasn't that good. So it seems like maybe people kind of started to put it together this time of like, hey, maybe some people were putting it together like, hey, maybe Nikki wasn't lying. Like, we're starting to see the inconsistency, and people started to question, do they do their holiday collections at a different lab? 2017 is, they were coming off of the drama, and it seemed like the beauty YouTubers, the big channels, weren't quite as in love with Too Faced. So they weren't kind of pushing, so they weren't talking about them as much as they had in the past. They launched a Better Together collection with Kat Von D, and that had horrible reviews. And when you look at it, like, it just doesn't really seem to kind of go together. They relaunched the Peach palette, and this time it was the Peach collection, which again, you can still buy the Peach palette. The rest of the year, they had good and bad products, it seems. All right, look at how pretty, though, that palette, or the bronzer is. Oh yeah, it smells like chocolate. Like, people either love it or don't like it at all. If so I don't know. What is your take? Are you team scented or not? And again, this year we had some more drama. Yeah, I think that's really pretty. It seems like this is the first time I'm using it. It seems very easy to apply. A feud with Jeffree Star. So I guess Jared had tweeted out and put out on social media that he felt like Tarte copied them. It was something to do with like one of the unicorns, and Jeffree Star responded back saying, hey, basically saying like, hey, leave Tarte alone. You didn't invent unicorns. So Tati at this time did a anti-haul video on Too Faced and saying that she would not be reviewing any of their products on her channel going forward. She was doing an anti-haul and she's saying, I'm not going to review them anymore. She said how she went to an event and that the owner of Too Faced was like so rude to her and she had such a bad experience. And it just kind of seems like, at least in YouTube land, that they were losing some of their popularity. I am so excited. I have wanted one of these curly irons that have like the 3 barrels for so long, and I got this off of Temu, so I'm excited to see how it performs. We'll try the low setting first. So Jared, he posted a picture online on his Instagram with a cake that clearly says Rich Lives Matter. Now remember, this is 2018. Around the time, this was when Black Lives Matter was gaining traction. So it's really insensitive, maybe some people would think. Of course, he was called out for it. He came out with an apology saying he didn't pick the cake. He didn't, pick it. Somebody brought it to the party. My problem with that, though, is to say, like, to brush it off and blame it on someone else. It's like, yeah, but you posted the picture. It was on his Instagram. At the end of the year, they come out with the gingerbread spice palette, and surprisingly, people did like this one. 2019, it seems like there really wasn't too much going on. They had some launches, but it didn't seem like it was really, like, no, they weren't awful where they were getting talked about that they were terrible. They weren't awesome where they were getting talked about that way. So it just kind of seemed like they were like, just kind of in the, ooh, look at, in the background, you know, not really getting talked about all that much. I like it. What do you think? Do you have one of these curl irons? Have you ever tried it? And then a 2020, and there's more drama. So Shane Dawson and Jeffree Star did a series, and in their second series, it was where they were following Shane, or they were following how they were making the controversy palette, Jeffree Star and the Shane Dawson collab. Well, on that series, and one of the scenes, Jeffree Star is discussing, I watched it when it first, like when it was airing, but I haven't watched it since, but was discussing the whole like Nikki Tutorials Too Faced drama. And he had come out and said on there that Nikki got a flat rate of $50,000. You know, the drama was that she should have made much more because the brand, I heard anywhere from 5 to 10 million that they were made off her products. So, you know, people were saying at this time, people were saying, wow, that's really unfair, that she should have got a percentage. They were taking advantage of, you know, the fact that she was new at it. And while I go back and forth on this because yes, now we would say that and think, whoa, like if they're going to sell millions, yeah, the person should get, it should be a percentage. But then at the same point, you look at it as this was 2016 that this happened. I feel like we're still, brands and laws and stuff, contracts are still just kind of, you know, like there's still a lot of brands that aren't using influencers and content creators. If you think about it too, and maybe they were just being shady and taking advantage, I'm sure, because, you know, it's the bottom line. So I don't know, I go back and forth because yes, maybe it was shady, but I think like on the initial front, it probably was a fairly new thing for knowing like how much is a collab with an influencer going to sell. But at the same time, it seems like maybe they could have circled back with her when they saw how much of a success it was and say, hey, you know, like, let's renegotiate. But then at the same time, when is a brand really going to do that? I mean, brands are about the bottom dollar. And if they were, obviously they knew they were probably going to sell and looking to sell the company, they probably really wanted to make sure their bottom dollar was really high and that they were showing that they were worth a lot and had a lot of profit. Nikki, she came out as transgender. And I do remember seeing her on the Ellen show and talking about how she wasn't quite ready to come out and tell people that, but that she was being blackmailed. That, you know, somebody was saying that they were going to expose her, so she felt like she needed to get in front of it and basically take control of the narrative and talk about it first. And I don't remember, and I couldn't find where she ever actually came out and said if it was Too Faced or not, but I remember there was a lot of speculation that it probably was somebody from Too Faced. So in response to that, Jared's sister, who has always had a large part to play in the company and, you know, inspiration, oh my gosh, I love this, changed her Instagram bio to say, you know, saying, oh, that's not all she's lied about. So clearly everyone could see that was a dig at Nikki Tutorials. Lisa and Too Faced got a lot of backlash. Jared did come out and say that he was distancing himself from his sister and that she was no longer with the company. July of 2022, both founders have now left the company completely. And it seems very split, I would say, because on YouTube beauty space, it seems like in general, most of the content creators kind of, you know, they don't like Too Faced. They just kind of feel like they're gimmicky, inconsistent, they're not one of their favorites. They, kind of their palettes, they kind of look generally similar when they launch. But if you go to Ulta or Sephora's website and you search by best-selling, Too Faced is in the list for both of those companies. So I feel like online social media favorites are different than on some things, but especially with Too Faced is different than real life consumer favorite. Now the last palette launch, the Italian Spritz, that one has seemed to get a lot of praise. A lot of people seemed excited about it before it launched and have done reviews and seem to be happy with it, and kind of from what I've been hearing, have been kind of saying like this is like the old Too Faced. The quality is good. Now as far as sustainability, because a lot of brands, that is a focus of them, I couldn't find too much on them on their website as far as carbon neutral footprint. This is what it says. The Estee Lauder Companies, Inc. is funding emission reduction project to offset CO2e emissions as a result of deliveries made from our Too Faced U.S. fulfillment center to our customer's delivery address. That's all I could find. Then I went to the Estee Lauder's website because I thought maybe they would have more on it, but they really don't have much more information on it. The products, they're made in the U.S., at least the majority. Like this one says the bulk made in the U.S. They are cruelty-free. Estee Lauder, their parent company, is not cruelty-free. They do have some vegan options, not everything, so you just have to look by product on their website. As far as their mica, where it's ethically sourced, I could not find anything on this on their website or on the Estee Lauder's website on how they mine it. Where to buy Too Faced, you can purchase it on their website, Amazon, Cult Beauty, HSN, Macy's, Nordstrom's, QVC, Selfridges, Sephora, Target, and Ulta.